Test. Mic check. 1, 2. Thank you, Atlam. Much appreciated. Hey, random ladybird, how are you? Thank you for the confirmation. It's good to know that a couple feeds are getting me. I'm gonna have to destroy that one too, Asmodeus. Hey, Solid 10, welcome back. So, that particular event, it had 50 people subscribed to it, and it reset the other day randomly. So I'm gonna nuke it after today's stream. But it seems events have been problematic ever since, like, just around daylight savings, and ever since then they've just been slowly having problems. These events that we have set up are like over a year old, and I think that's part of the problem. It's been through a couple daylight savings, and now it's like bugged out beyond all recognition. So I'm sorry, the Discord events have been inconsistent lately, and yeah, I'm glad you got a tell from Discord and that you're here. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh, you want to hear something crazy, Asmodeus? My displate, one of the plates fell, like in the middle of the night. Like the other night, it was like 3 in the morning and it just fell. I feel like my house is haunted. So welcome one and all to the Damn Challenge stream. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. I want to just give you all a quick heads up. I did not sleep well last night. And Seymour is not feeling well. He barfed on my bed last night, and so it was a big mess. Had to clean it up. I just did not sleep much last night, so anyway, so I'm basically running on fumes at the moment, and I apologize if I'm a little off or a little slow or sluggish or short. It's likely because I didn't sleep much. Anyway, I am glad to be here though, regardless, and there was a lot of amazing entries. So we didn't get that many entries. We only had 6 entries in the damn challenge, but the thing about it is every single entry was an absolute fire. Okay, I was very torn on picking a winner. I spent a considerable amount of time like going through each map before I picked a winner. And I was very impressed with the amount of effort that the cartographers who entered this challenge put into it. I think everyone really put forth their A game, and it made it very challenging for me to pick a winner, but I would like to congratulate the winner, who is Lord Rev with Night Market. It is an absolutely wonderful map for several reasons. First and foremost, you have an assortment of like roads and paths, alleys, if you will, leading to separate shops and different areas that are really only accessible via footpath. You have, this really lovely kind of brick paved area where I love that you kind of centered it out with this room brick pattern instead of, because I'm pretty sure this is a room right here, right? Just without walls or anything. Very, very clean in design. And each shop just kind of has its own little personality. I love that you put the time into each one, giving them, you know, just a little bit of life. I was just impressed with it overall. The lighting is another thing that I loved about it. It just seems like I don't know. Yeah, night market is a good name for it. I don't know. Have any of you ever been shopping? And you know, this is the time of year really, like between like, you know, just around Thanksgiving to say the end of the year, where maybe you go to like a mall or possibly like a, you know, I don't know, like a, yeah, I don't know, a downtown market or something like that. But it does remind me of being at like a first night type situation where you're downtown and there's all these vendors and the environment is very decorative and festive, and it's a little chilly, but you know, you probably are bundled up for the occasion. Yeah, the snow is great. Really looks like, you know, it's been kind of pushed to the side. I really like this feel though. It does feel like a town center, kind of like a festive, decorated town center. I think it's a beautiful build, and I love the effort you put into it overall, Rev. So congratulations on winning the Dam Challenge, and I'm very happy for you. I know you've been entering, you know, diligently. It is a pretty map, isn't it? What's like like Ladybird just said, these little snow lumps, these are just like clumps of snow, but put together like they have been. They look just kind of like snow pack or melt that's been pushed to the side with like a shovel or something when they are clearing the streets. What, Asmodeus? Stream running late. What do you mean, man? So confused. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, I've been live since 12. That does happen sometimes, though. You have to refresh or it like doesn't show anything. Let's take a walk around this festive scene here. I actually took a shot with a token from here because I love this, like you can see the roads, you see some snow, the lighting, the trees, the different booths and vendors. Awesome. You know what? I just realized I'm not paying attention to chat on a couple of feeds, so give me a minute. Dungeon Alchemist does have Sky. It just depends on like what time of day you set it at. It's a little bit more apparent at night. One moment here. Just noticing the TikTok feed is frozen. Give me 1 second here, TikTok viewers. I apologize. I'm going to refresh. Okay. And I've got Steam, I've got TikTok. So when you're in first person in a map, when you're outside, there is always a skybox. And just depends on the time of day how like detailed it is. So during the day, it's, you know, it's just blue with the sun. There is always a skybox. That being said, they're just kind of limited in scope. But when you're inside of like a building, depending on the building's view mode, you will block out the sky, so you'll have like nothing. If you have the over here under here, let me turn back around, y'all can see. If you go to this setting here, when you select a room, you can tell it to show the sky when you're inside in like a first person or cinematic, or show the ceiling, or the immersive ceiling, so to speak. When the next update launches, though, this will be pretty much a thing of the past, unless you want to leave your buildings roofless. But if you put a roof on them, they'll be pretty nice in that regard. Joiny the Clown says, hello, I'm learning to make 3D models in university. Is it possible to import 3D assets? If so, what format? Yes, actually, you can import 3D models into Dungeon Alchemist through this tab right here. It says Steam Workshop, and then it says Asset Importer. When you click that, it opens the Asset Importer, and you can import 3 different files right now. STL, FBX, and GLTF/GLB files. Atlam, can you drop the wiki link for them for the Asset Importer, please? To Joiny. Joiny, our mod is going to give you a link here in a moment, and that'll point you towards a wiki entry that covers the Asset Importer in great detail, and what file formats and different, like if you use Blender, the optimal settings to use, etc., and it walks you through the process of importing an asset. Jabba, thank you for the kind words. It is a very cute Christmas village, isn't it? Watch your back. The next release is likely going to be Q1 2025. It's called Fun with Objects, and it'll be releasing with multi-level, the ability to generate buildings on top, multi-level structures. You'll have balconies, mezzanines, towers, so you can do all sorts of stuff with multi-level. There is also many new features and quality of life improvements regarding objects. Many objects had to be depreciated and updated to support multi-level, like pillars and windows and things like that. Additionally, we've added some new features to support, having more fun with objects. In fact, I'll just show one of those really quickly. Hey, Highland Lass, how are you? So one of the new features I'm most excited about in the next update is this one here, and many of you have used the object brush and the object eraser. It's great, but it's limited in scope to the assets we've created brushes for. And now you can create a brush of any object in your collection. So essentially you can pick any asset in the asset browser and turn it into a brush, or you can download an object from the workshop and turn it into a brush. Yeah, I'm sorry, watch your back. I mean, obviously Dungeon Alchemist is still a very solid product, without this next update. The next update, we would love to have pushed it out before the end of the year, but there's a lot of things going into it. The scope and scale of what was being added required lots of detail and time, and basically just pushed into territory we weren't happy with, releasing it in before the end of the year. So we decided to wait until it was much more solid and runs smoothly, and everyone can generate multi-level structures with ease, including generating structures underground and above ground. So there's a lot of work going into making sure it's going to be a solid release. Again, Jabba, thank you so much for the kind words. Hey, Kali Psych, welcome back. Welcome back. How are you? I am very excited for the new update as well. Okay, back to Lord Rev's map, because that's the highlight right now. So Lord Rev won the damn challenge, which was window shopping, with this lovely Christmas-themed map. So many different shops to peek into and check out, different alleys and corners to, kind of absorb. And yeah, I think it's a great build. Emmy over on TikTok says he slayed. So they agree with you, Rev, and that this is a good map. In fact, can we get some congratulations to Lord Rev? If just like a little pat on the back, some encouragement, whatnot, because yeah, this is a great map. Yeah, you can actually also add colliders to the assets. You can set all sorts of parameters for what type of object. Is it like a token, or is it a normal object? Does it float in the air? All sorts of different things. And additionally, you can set it for local use only, or you can share it on the workshop with everyone publicly. Hey, Lalandra, how are you? Just absolutely love all the entries, though. There were so many good... I mean, like I said earlier when we started the stream, there were 6 entries for this dam challenge, and every single one of them was fire. It was very hard for me to pick a winner, but when it came down to it, this one here had so much heart, so much different things going on, different themes, different shops, you know, like a lot of different lighting and decoration, some decent symmetry as well. Oh, Lalandra, you know, I feel that. I'm tired and I'm working too. I actually am running, I don't mean to like play the compare game. I'm just not feeling that great today. I'm running on like 2 hours of sleep, maybe even less. Y'all know Seymour, right? Everyone's favorite puppy that comes on the stream and says hello sometimes. So he was not feeling well last night, and he borfed all over me bed. 0 sleep? Oh no. Well, I am so sorry you didn't get any sleep. I, you know, cleaned up some barf. It was fun. But anyway, he seems to be doing okay at the moment. He just kind of probably ate too much for dinner, so he borfed. Yeah, it's fine. It was just like a long night dealing with all that. Right, Emmy? Why do they always do it in the bed? So, Dungeon Alchemist does use Unity. Though I'm not too keen on the deep intricacies of that because I'm not on the development team. I'm the community manager. I will say this, though. The skyboxes we have were made by hand by Wim, and it was his first time making them. I'm sure with time we will add more skyboxes to Dungeon Alchemist. But for now, I will say that the workshop has supplemented that quite well. For instance, Asmodeus, who is here in chat, has shared some skyboxes. Like this one in particular is a new skybox that he just made up that is one way, meaning it is like a one-way mirror, or, you know, it's essentially a one-way dome where the skybox is invisible on the outside looking in, except for at certain angles. And then once you're inside, as a token, it is completely encapsulating the entire view of the sky. And this is just a 3D object that Asmodeus put together and shared on the workshop. So it's quite possible to import skyboxes. It's neat in this regard. You have, you know, this kind of domed area over the entire map, but then when you're outside of the map looking in, it peels back like a one-way screen. Yeah, Rev did a good job. Oh, really? What's he making? Or fixing? Yes, I will walk through it a bit slower. I am so sorry. I will definitely slow down. Where's my token at? Gotta find him first. There he is. I always forget that I've gone through it like 5 times now, so for me it's like I'm like basically just speed running the map, like I'm looking like a platformer. So I apologize. We do have extra time to you know, look at the map today, like all the maps, because there was only 6 entries, so we'll have extra time to peek at them all. So I definitely don't have to rush. My apologies. Normally there's like 15 to 20 entries, and I've basically got to dedicate like 5 minutes or less per map, so I do have to be kind of quick. I mean, walk can kind of be slowed down if you adjust your first person view, your field of view. Technically, the wider you make, or like the less wide this is, the slower it feels. But then you see far less. But notice how it's like sluggishly walking. It feels like I'm like walking in goo or something. It's just like a field of view thing. Hey, thank you, Watch Your Back. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas to you too. Okay, let's go inside this here. We'll check this one out. So, got a good little walkthrough of this one. Check out the alley here. Nice little hole-in-the-wall pub over here. Oh yeah, the new tavern stuff looks interesting for sure. Holy cow, TikTok. Thank you so much for the likes. Over 1.5k likes already. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. If I had a hat on, I'd tip it to you. Nice, Lord Rev. That's awesome. That'll be cool. This as a town center would be very interesting over, like, you know, the scope of an entire city. I could see it being awesome. Like, very detailed. This is like just a little gallery. So Watch Your Back on TikTok asks, how will multi-level be to VTT platforms? Pretty much, we're optimizing our exports to work with as many virtual tabletop platforms simultaneously as possible. And by that I mean it'll likely be the most simple and straightforward method without any extra workarounds or anything like that. Meaning each level will export as a separate map. New image, and those images can be put into your VTT of choice as a new scene. So floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, etc. We're also working on a companion exporter tool that'll like mass improve speed for like mass exporting, you know, every level on a map, etc. Yeah, there won't be any modules or anything like that. We don't plan to make any plugins or support any modules that do multi-level. It will work, anything we offer will work within the stock systems that are offered by virtual tabletops, because ultimately that will allow it to work with as many systems as possible. Was that the bar? Cool. Yeah, I was about to ask Lady Bird if this was any better. I mean, technically, watch your back. We offer tools to do exports to create your own tiles right now. I've created a few tiles using the green screen biome. It's pretty neat. You just kind of make a green screen map and put, say, like a roof on it. And then that map, you would then export it. And then you take that image and put it into, say, a photo editor or a video editor, if you want it to be an animated video. If it's a photo, you would make it a PNG and clear out all the excess green and make it just blank, right? And then you have a roof tile that you can put on top of stuff. Any roof, really. I've done that for like windmills, the drill, a few different objects in DA with decent success. But I do think, it would be easier to make tiles if we had, say, a transparent background or export. I do know that there is a work order on our roadmap, our internal roadmap, that mentions transparent backdrop, so eventually it'll come, eventually it'll be worked on and added. I don't know if it'll be in this update, though. But for now, if you use the green screen background and then just put a roof on there, say one you found on the workshop or whatever, you can then just export that, clean off the green area with a couple of clicks, because you can do like color removal in Photoshop or most photo editors. I like the brooms floating above the hooks, like precariously, like the hooks aren't even necessary. Ooh, the little wand displays, that's clean. I'm not really happy with the wands pointing directly at me, though. That makes me feel very unsafe. Septa! Always assume your wands are loaded. That looks cool. This is the back alley where they sell all the interesting things that you may not find at the other stores. Hey, Mosey, welcome back. So, Lord Rev, you're making a drying rack? Let's hear about that. Indeed, we are window shopping. Here, let's make it night. I want to see what it looks like at night. Yeah. It is a whole market, isn't it? They really do get bright. When you're looking right at them, they're like, poof. That's really cool. Rev, that's interesting. To be honest with you, Saka, you know more than me at this point. I wouldn't even know. Acceptable meats. Guts and grizzle. Mostly guts and grizzle. You want me to show you how the sausage gets made? You put the meat in there and you grind it, and that's how the sausage gets made. Well, don't type the evidence in chat. Rev. Ooh, lovely little tailor shop. I love this. Hey, Caillou, welcome back. How you doing? So for those that are wondering who I'm talking to, if you're on a different platform, we are multi-streaming right now to many different platforms simultaneously. So we're live on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Steam, etc. So I'm monitoring all those chats simultaneously, and then responding in kind to the various questions and whatnot. So if I'm saying something like, who is he talking to? That's why. I'm talking to someone in another chat feed. I like the tailor shop a lot. It's nice. I also basically have this exact sewing machine. I am ready for the holidays. Pretty much. Just waiting on all the stuff I ordered, the last of it, to show up. Nowadays, I don't do much shopping outside of my house, and I pretty much will just order everything I need online and let it get shipped here. But I usually do it, like, in advance, so I don't have to wait or worry. Okay, I just want to make sure I've hit, like, every corner here. We got the magic shop. Oh, no, I don't think no, we went in. No, we did not go in here. No, we did go in here earlier. Okay, check it out again, though. Little curiosity shop. So we have a singer that's like inside of a table that folds out, and so it folds up and it's all sealed, and then you can flip the lid over and it becomes like a big desk, and then the sewing machine can flip up, and then it has like a ledge that like locks into place. Anyway. I mean, there's also like a big strike in Canada right now too with the mail. Oh man, that'd be like solidarity to them, but that would be rough if you're like expecting packages or you're needing to ship them for work or your personal business. Oh, I'm sure it's infuriating. It's frustrating all across the board. I feel bad for the postal workers, because they should probably be, paid fairly for the amount of work they do and, like, delivering parcels on time, day in, day out, And I think that it's unfair that they're not paid appropriately and, so they have to do something like this. At the end of the day, it's really, really puts you in a bad situation when you're just trying to make your life better. Like, all of us want more for ourselves, right? We want a raise at work or better hours or more time with our family and friends. And so it's like they're just wanting a better lives for themselves. It's hard to like think of that as like a bad thing. It is frustrating, though, when you're used to an accommodation that's like something you can rely on day in, day out. It's all of a sudden not available. Don't feel bad about your entry. I'll be honest with you. Do you want to hear the truth? And I said this at the beginning of the stream. I said it twice now. There was only 6 entries in this damn challenge, and every single one of them were amazing. I was very hard pressed to pick a winner. I went through each one of them one at a time, and I was very impressed with every one of them. Like, I spent a lot of time on this damn challenge trying to pick a winner. So I wouldn't sell yourself short if you feel like your map, doesn't hold up. It definitely held up. I just, there can only be one winner each damn challenge. And I end up having to pick that winner, it's pretty rough sometimes. I feel bad, only picking one. On occasion, I'll rope in one of the devs or artists to pick for me because it gets hard, being the only person picking. But honestly, I absolutely loved every entry. Each one was unique in their own right and had some fun, interesting theme, and really dove into the aesthetic of window shopping in their own way. You can change your name under, if you click your little profile icon in the top right corner on Twitch, there's a setting option. You can change your name once every 30 days, I believe, on Twitch. Mosey, I definitely do sympathize, and it's rough. I'm sorry you're dealing with that firsthand. That would be very, very difficult this time of year, especially. If you're shopping online for holidays or you're sending stuff to your friends and family members. Hopefully, when all's said and done, there's a resolve that benefits all parties well, and this kind of thing doesn't have to happen. So again, this is the winning map by Lord Rev. Beautiful, beautiful build, very well done. Just this lovely little town square with a lot of heart in it. Lots of little shops, lots and lots of window shopping to go on here. So congratulations, Lord Rev, on winning the damn challenge. I will reach out to you via DM on Discord between now and Monday afternoon to send you your prize, which is a $10 Hero Forge gift card. And sometime between now and Monday afternoon, I will post the information about the damn challenge as Rev is the winner, announcing him as the winner in the damn challenge channel, but also updating and sharing the new theme, which, speaking of which, we need to come to an agreement of a new theme. Seeing as how this next damn challenge will be, ending essentially right before the end of the year, and right after, right around the holidays. We may want to theme it a holiday-themed pick, or a winter-themed pick in particular. I was feeling like Winter Wonderlands that was suggested last time, and we did that when we released the Winter Wonderlands update. It might be fun to kind of revisit it. Frosty Woods, interesting. But I'm open to the floor. I would love to hear suggestions for ideas for themes. Remember, keep it 1 to 2 words. That inspires, evokes a lot of inspiration for builds. I usually love when a theme challenges our cartographer community to really, dig deep and come up with something unique. And it seems like almost every theme that we pick, we really just bring out the best in our community. Frozen, that could work. It's simple, elegant. Okay, let's open the next map, shall we? We're gonna just go from left to right all the way to the bottom. So, oh my gosh. Highland Lass, your map was so amazing, and let me tell everyone why. The road in your map. I love that you had like non-perpendicular like street plans, and then you really hammered it home with your custom cobble. I know you've used this on a few maps, and it's absolutely lovely every time you do it. So I'm going to zoom out so everyone could see this. You don't see many maps where things aren't like square, right? Almost everything in DA is done incredibly like square and to the grid. And when you start building, you know, instead of parallel to the grid, you're perpendicular to it, things become a little difficult. In that DA tries to fight you a lot. It'll like try to place objects at weird angles because it's like, no, the grid's over here and this is what I'm supposed to snap to. Sorry if I hit that. Oh, it looks like permafrost. They're like, yeah, I love this though. So she laid down this cobble street by hand. And then this here, these little sidewalk pieces. Look at this. This is like a little, like a thing you would lay a body on in like a tomb or something. I don't even know what they call that. A bier? A bier? I don't even know how that's pronounced. I'm completely lost on that. But she absolutely killed it with this map. I love how it feels like this little village that's been there a while, or it's just like this little, you know, nook part of this town, because this big road implies there's much more beyond this, right? The road's got a bunch of wear on it too, which implies, again, heavy use. And then you've got all these beautiful little shops tucked in here, which we're going to go take a look at all of them. But what really stunned me the most was the fact that it is just not a, you know, perfectly gridded build. So this is definitely challenging in its own right, and much respect to you, Highland Lass, for this. This is Eliza's domain. Interesting. I was going to ask you about the undead, you know, carriage and horses, and some of the aesthetic here seems a little macabre, but like overall, like it's very, you know, just seems like a busy, you know, kind of shopping district, like a corner of a shopping district. Oh, hi. Yeah. Oh, come here. Let's go. He's like invisible because his towel is green. He's a good boy. You get a good boy off. No more barfs on you. Just keep you right here forever. Just put him on the heat. Little shivering boy. Hey Shlomo, how you doing? Welcome back. Okay. Yeah, this is Seymour. He is a bit of a stream celebrity. He'll pop in for like a minute, and then everyone prefers him over me, usually. Yeah, I think he just ate too much. Had a little bit too much dinner, mixing in the dry food, and it expands in his tummy, and bleh. You know, you could wrap him up in the port, and then he would be a doggy burrito. Hey, wait, you gotta take him. Part of the plan. Alright. T-minus 2 minutes, he'll be back as a burrito, I promise. A pupperito, as we call it. Yeah, the bath probably helped too. He is a cutie. He's what we call a super goobs boy. But he had a rough night. He'll be back in a minute. So we have these blankets that we got a couple years ago, that are like round, circular, like they're a big disc basically, and the blankets are styled in something circular. So I picked one that is a tortilla. So I get to lounge around in a tortilla blanket. Now he is definitely a pupperito. And then my son has a pizza blanket, and then my wife has one that looks like a donut. Good boy. You're good. You warm enough now? Warm enough now? My God. Oh, hi, kitty. Isn't me? Doesn't come. Okay, take this. You know. We actually get a rare double fur sighting today. Jeez, why is he so invisible? Gotta play with my camera settings after this. And this one, he loves his dad. If you can't tell, he's just nuzzled him. Right? He is like the Cheshire Cat right now. What is going on? I am very confused why he's being green screened out. Who's a Daz? Who's a Daz, babe? Gonna just stay here for a while? Just feeds. But I can totally grab his belly. It lets me. Kitty people know this. This isn't like a normal thing. You can't just like flip a cat upside down and hold its belly, but I can. Lebes. Trying to figure out why he's disappearing. I feel like I'm like the picture in Back to the Future. I'm fading away. Oh my gosh, so much fur. I regret everything. Something's up with my camera. I don't know what's going on. It just made him invisible all of a sudden. That was weird. I'm gonna play with these settings. Could be. Good. Let me roll my hands first. Yep. Thanks. Bombed me with fur. Weird, like I'm trying to look at the settings for my camera and it won't let me. Well, I just turned the automatic white balance on. And everything looks fine. It's weird. Right? It's very rare. Zach, you know what? I'll send you a bundle if you would like to do that, you weirdo. So, Eliza and Hendrik are Dungeon Alchemist mascots. They're not stream mascots. Stream mascots are Puppy and Kitty. Kitty hardly ever graces his presence here. It's usually just Puppy. Hey, Nady, how you doing? How goes it? How is things at Bite the Bullet? I am lost in this house. Seems like it's meant to just confuse you because every floor is different. Oh yeah, I forgot. So I have this in like that really. I usually run at about 90p field of view. It's a window and flooring shop. Okay, I was confused. I thought I was like, it was like a fun house or something for a minute because every bit of the flooring was different. Very cool. Yeah. Little magic shop. I like how they've got the instant fortress in the window. So, Nady, are you working on anything cool right now? What's your next fun project with Bite the Bullet? Oof. Cult circles here. Interesting. I like all the random magic circles. Kobolds! Nice! Are you going to do some kobolds in several of them in a trench coat stacked on top of each other? Or like maybe you can see their noses peeking out of a coat. That'd be hilarious. So you could do like 2 or 3 of them, and then like a nose peeking out here, and then one's the arms and one's the legs. It would look hilarious. Like all those like the old trope of like kids standing on top of each other. Who knows? You better. I'm just kidding. Kobolds are one of my favorite creatures in Dungeons and Dragons. Those little nerds. Always getting into trouble. Always making messes. This little snowman, I love it. Great addition. Is anybody home? Oh my gosh, I saw that last night. There was like a TikTok video announcing that there'll be 4 new episodes of Malcolm in the Middle after like 18 years. Which is crazy to me. But honestly, I'm all for it. Oh, hilarious, Mosey Poe. Oh, so your party had their very own fart buckle? Every party seems to adopt their very own fart buckle. It seems to be this like wayward, you know, some sort of monster orphan that gets adopted, even though it probably doesn't need to be adopted. I mean, the only reason it's an orphan in the first place is likely your fault. Isn't that always the way, though? Let's hear it. Raise of hands. Like I gotta get a pull the DMs here. How many DMs in this chat right now have their players have their like a party pet, like a fart buckle, that is a monster, something with like its own, you know, brains, and like it can think for itself, but it's like a little party mascot that they protect at all costs. So everybody seems to have a little party mascot. Oh my gosh, I love this studio. All the little, sorry, what are those called again? Gosh, I can't remember. Canvases? Very cool. Like a little shop in the front. You can buy some paintings or buy materials, supplies to paint. But in the back, it's like, this is where all the magic happens. Yeah, I mean, anything they adopted for whatever reason, and they'll probably defend, like, with their lives. Like, more often than not, the thing that is adopted by the party is something that they will, like, do anything to protect. Not a DM, but my character is considered the party mascot. Oh, that's hilarious, Emmy. I gotta hear this story. Right? And then you have to give it a name. It's basically Woblin, right? Like, so this goblin that we meet in the middle of the forest that we probably should kill. What's the goblin's name? I don't know. Woblin? Because you never gave it a name. You thought they would just destroy it. This is brilliant. I love it. Gary the Goblin. That counts. Definitely counts, Sabka. Okay. Beautiful map. Lovely work as always, Highland Lass. Thank you so much for sharing this piece of art on the workshop. Did a fantastic job. My favorite part I kid you not, and I know this is silly, but my favorite part is this hand-laid cobblestone road that is not straight. It is this unique angle, like a diagonal street. And oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you for sharing this beautiful map. Let's go ahead and jump over to a new map. Oh, I feel your pain there, you know? That, it's beautiful, though. It's really detailed. Why not Daryl, Sack? Daryl, where's your other brother, Daryl? So this one was done by Random Ladybird, and I just gotta say, my favorite part of this entire build is this busy octopus over here with like every hand full doing something. I love that trope of like a sentient octopus that is super busy because he's just got every hand doing something. This made me smile so hard. I love it. Just gotta say, this was like my favorite part of the map. He's literally just doing something with every single hand, it looks like. And then you got the cat, of course. Always gotta have a shop cat. And this just packed full of boxes at different angles. Just looks like, you know, like just trying to shove it wherever it fits. I love that. It seems very much like a, you know, just kind of a shop full of supplies. I see there's a nest here. Is this for the crow that's about? The crows? The cat is the boss? Oh my. Emmy, I saw you have a cat like that on your map too. I like the little cat bed though, the cat tree with the hammock just hanging in the corner. So more often than not, I try not to read the descriptions because, and let me explain why. I like to go into the map only thinking about the theme, typically, and as a result of which, I feel like I've had a really good. Like I kind of stay true to picking a winner based on that, not just based on like how descriptive the story and excerpt is paired to it. Though I do love accompanying story. I do appreciate it when people give some background to it, and I'll usually open it up on stream if people ask. So like right now would be a good idea. But when it comes to deciding a winner, I don't usually use this as judgment for it. Usually the map only. Revan and friends, love when animated stuff has super weird freeze poses when exported. What do you mean by that, Revan? If you want to elaborate a little bit, I'd love to hear more about that. His name is Fluffy McFluffybutt. Dropping my name in there. You think that's going to give you some brownie points? It might. It might. So, I gotta say, TikTok, y'all are killing it today. Thank you so much for all the likes. We have over 3,000 likes today. Much appreciated. Let me just give you some knuckles there. Pound it. Seriously, look at that. My knuckles are even disappearing. What is going on with my camera today? I'm gonna play with that real quick. Okay, that helped. Okay. Seriously, I was turning into the brother and sister from Back to the Future. You know how they like start disappearing on the photo? Okay. Fluffy McFluffy Bud is a generous boss, but a careful one. The fact that he is a cat does not slow down his ambition in any way. And he has built up his catalog business from scratch. I like the pun there. He has a series of walkways along the tops of the room so he can keep an eye on things from above. He sells his own original fragrances, but also a range of positively perfect accessories. Fluffy Butt's world's famous perfumery ships fine fragrances all over the continent via its team of dedicated crow messengers. The mailroom is headed by his business partner, Ophelia Octopus, whose multitasking skills are legendary. She even helps out with the ink production. In addition, his owl employee looks after shop orders from the local display room, seeing as how there is a new fragrance being launched. They have seasonal from a local student help promoting their products today. The door off the showroom is staff only. Once ordered, Fluffy's cousin May will run and get the goods and bring it to the service window, which is also where the mail is collected from. Currently, she is out fetching some herbs for the fragrance team, who are working in the lab, hoping for the next big fragrance breakthrough. I had some dancers that looked like they were talking that I downloaded from the workshop. I'm assuming you're talking about like an animated token or something. Is that what you mean, Revan? It will freeze at the moment you go to export if you do a picture. If you do an animated export, though, it should continue animating them instead of being frozen. So if you do like a video export. I think one of my other favorite things about the shop is like all these little details down on these little placards. Whisker elixir for luscious long whiskers. Shed stop, go from moth-eaten moggy to full fur growth again. Peacock mirror to admire your beautiful face and style. Very fun little details here. Perfection potion for an ultra glossy shine. Be the main attraction. Small pearl mirror. Perfection in craft catship. Peacock mirror to admire your beautiful face and style. You get the idea. Cosmetics. Too much. And this owl, he's just a cutie too, right? He's just over here minding his own business, this alchemist. Gotta see his face. There. Very cute. So how long did you put into this build, Random Ladybird? Days? Dang. Yes, Foundry we offer animated exports for. So if you go to the export menu under Foundry, We offer still images, but we offer video export options as well. So if you have, animated maps or maps with, like excessive light animation or objects that are moving, fire, anything you want on it that you want to export that would be, video and looping, you can do one of these 4 here. I typically recommend video low quality WebM. It'll work with pretty much any size map, whereas MP4 only goes up to like 2048 by 2048 or something like that. WebM can do any size map. And the files are typically rather small, and WebM is great for several reasons. It can be used to, you can edit out the background if you have like a green backdrop and make it transparent, so you can have different layers in a WebM, whereas you can't in MP4. Anyway, but both of these all 3 of these formats are compatible with Foundry. Well, thank you, Asmodeus, for being such an awesome helper. Uh-oh, the mice got out and they're eating all the food. Oh no. Oh no. I really like this setup back here, where you got the workers, and the guys up here actively like mixing stuff. Oh. Yeah, Revan, when you're exporting for virtual tabletops, it's always wise to export at a lower DPI because virtual tabletops have file size limits and resolution limits. So when you export at 300 DPI, you're actually essentially making the map excessively large. The higher DPI options are typically meant for like smaller maps or maps that are meant for print, or maybe like you're going to export a video for a TV tabletop for local play. I wouldn't recommend higher DPIs for online play. Simply put, lower DPI, it might look a little bit fuzzier, but the file sizes are 6 times smaller than very high quality, meaning it's only 72 dots it's 72 by 72 on a square in DA instead of 300 by 300 pixels in a square. So when you start adding up all those pixels across all of the map, it starts becoming insanely large file at 300 DPI. So when you're doing online play, what happens when you have a large file? You have the issue of it may not load into the virtual tabletop. Issue 1. Issue 2 is your players, one or more of them may have trouble loading this file. Because, in an online situation, you're either hosting it right from your computer or through a third-party service. They may have trouble downloading this file because of file size limits from that service, or internet connection, or their computer could be, ran by hamsters. You don't really know the exact situation, but there's always a weak link in the chain somewhere, and it's bound to gum up the works if you have a very large file map. So it's best to keep it 72 DPI, so it's the best chance it'll load for all your players. And what I recommend with animated maps, like let's say you're exporting an animated map that's rather large, like 80 by 80 or even 60 by 60. You may want to export a version of the map that's just the still version as well, and make that a backup scene in your virtual tabletop. This goes for any virtual tabletop. It's a good idea with animated maps, just in case one of your players can't load that. Then you have a backup scene you can go to. Anyway, I say this from experience in a lot of online play with a lot of different people, both as a player and a DM. You're just bound to run into an issue where, you know, the file size of your map it could be part of the problem. Anyway. I have a large town on a Forge server and it refused to accept my... So, what exports were you doing 72 DPI, Mosey? Yeah, Revan, exactly. You wanted to go... And that's the other thing, too. A lot of these services, they either have limited hosting or, you know, you may have a free account. You got to keep your sizes small. Like, Roll20... Their maps are like 20 megabytes or less per scene, I think, is what they recommend. I think Fantasy Grounds says like 75 megabytes or less, if I'm not mistaken. I think, and then Foundry also says around there, like 80 megabytes or less. Stand by one moment. No worries, Atlam. Wonder what happened. Oh, really? That's a bummer, Mosey. How big was the map? Honestly, Revan, both are fine. I monitor chats on both. It's just and I don't want everyone to feel like Twitch is the favored place to be. The thing is Twitch is the most established when it comes to our streaming platforms because we've been streaming there the longest. So we have the most active viewers and people returning every stream. We've only been multi-streaming on every platform now for about like 4 or 5 months. So it's very new for us to be streaming on TikTok and Steam and Facebook and all these other platforms. So we just don't have as many regular viewers on those platforms. That being said, we are starting to get more and more, but each platform is a little bit different. You know, like TikTok is algorithmic, which means like your platform, your stream doesn't really get noticed unless you're getting lots of views and lots of likes and stuff like that. So I don't really mind it. I'm just here to offer it to the people in our community who are on that platform. Steam, the same thing. I just like being available to our Steam members who are maybe checking out Dungeon Alchemist for the first time and maybe have questions. So, anyway. Look at this little back area here. Love this little extra garden area. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. If it's a very big map, you'll eventually hit the limits of most of those services. Random Ladybird, thank you so much for making this map. We're going to move on to another one. Oh, this one's from Emmy. I liked this one a lot because of the little curved area with the secret area behind it. So here you have the secret bookshelf being used very elegantly, the secret door bookshelf. And Emmy went to town decorating this whole area with, you know, just filling it up with accoutrements and decor, making it feel used and lived in. But I do love how well that fit here. And you got the secret behind it, and it looks pretty good overall. Oh, I think you did great. It's a nice little magic shop. Just like a little bit of everything. Some of these things you wonder what they even do. I love this build though. I think you did a great job. The witch over here. Tipping the crow gives DM inspiration. Love it. The skull up here with the snake in its mouth or through the eye socket, very cool, very occult. Like, it definitely has that magic shop feel. And then the little garden in the back. Fantastic. A little spot for tea. And, like, contemplation. This is a good little magic shop. I like when a magic shop has, like a heart, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels very, like, used and it's been there. Yeah, the garden's a great addition. And then, of course, the cult secret room in the back with all the, you know, evil magic items and nefarious purpose. Of course, Eliza's back here. So, Revan, when we started doing exports for Foundry, secret doors weren't even a thing they offered as a door option. We need to go through and update a few of our exports, you know, wall types and window and door types to match some of their newer settings, both there and I think in Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds, because they now all have, like, I think at least to a degree, some of that. It is, unfortunately, a little bit of a bummer that it doesn't automatically set it to a secret door, but luckily it only takes a couple clicks to flip it to a secret door. And considering all the rest of the walls and doors are done, not too bad. But yeah, it is kind of a bummer that it doesn't show it as a secret door within Foundry. I think the occult room is my favorite part of the build. Just the little secret, you know, bookshelf room. Why is there a locket on the ground? Oh no, it's a table. Amulet of Table just hiding out right there. But the devs are aware that, like, there's new distinctions of, like, wall types and door types, and I think eventually they'll go through and update the exports to reflect that. There's just a lot of, you know, random things that are on their plate right now that take a little bit more precedence over that. But I do know it is on their to-do list. I did find it, Emmy. Too funny. The Amulet of Table is an interesting object because you can actually build like an entire structure on top of it using objects, and then it'll collapse into the table. This, and then there's like a couple objects that do the same thing, but the bag of, like, what is it called? It's not a bag of holding, it's a bottomless bag, also does this same thing. So you could build on top of this and go upward, and then it can collapse inside like a portable, you know, like a little portable fortress. A while ago, there was a few creators who figured this out, and each, they built some maps that it's like one of them is Santa's portable home built on like a table, and the other one was like a whole druid's like shack cabin type thing that he just carries with him in his backpack. I think that's pretty cool, actually. But yeah, I mean, this is a really well done map. I think you did a great job. Absolutely love it. I love a magic shop that just has a little bit of heart. Feels like original. Also, you know, it's interesting that like you don't really like this big open floor plan. You know, typically magic shops like curiosity shops are packed full, you know, to the brim, like little shelves and tables. It's a nice, interesting take on it with like an open floor plan, lots of space, lots of unique, interesting items. This particular area that's like Egyptian themed is great too. I actually really like this. Okay. We already did night market. So let's go to the swamp market. And I believe this is Sabka in chat. Wow, 10 megabytes is what they recommend? That is insanely small for an animated file. Okay, well, I'm gonna just double check here. So, Cho on Steam. I'm assuming you have a different name in Discord as well, huh? Uh-oh, you lost your measuring tape? Well, at least it's not your 10 millimeter socket. Like, could be worse. Is it hanging on you somewhere? Because I'll usually clip my tape on me and forget about it. So this is an interesting take on the market because it's a water-based market. So you have this swamp, little village kind of area where it seems like commerce would thrive if it's water-based or you transport on the water because you can move a lot of goods easily on water. So I do like this like little barge bar here. Interesting. But every bit of this has something, you know, ready to go. I did have a question about this because it seems like some of the boats don't really have outlets, and I'm wondering if it's a floodplain that like fills in and it's like different times of the day where you can get the boats out of these areas easier. So basically what you're saying is the tape was really, really trying to get you hurt. Here, I gotta read what you put here. Swamps are harsh, unforgiving places on land, but to those who can adjust, has so much to give. Discover the swamp market at sunset. Go window shopping and enjoy the scenery, or fill up your bags for the next adventure. Little tailor shop there. Yeah, I did too. I loved, like, you know, it's different. It's a little bit different take going to a swamp. Well, I added some logic to it there. So, I mean, bogs and swamps tend to get like water into them and it rises and lowers throughout the day, sort of like a tide. So you could say it's like a floodplain that at certain times of the day, it's like dry and there's land and you can walk around. Other times you have to be reliant solely on boats, which makes sense. Either way, sorry if I'm adding logic to it, but I think it's a beautiful map. I love what you did with it. I love it. The Ferns' algae is great. Also, I love that you, you know, made good use of the moss. It is a cool map, and you could totally just have this in like a, you know, just a more like a bayou area, a swampy region, just a little area where your players can drop in and do some shopping and selling. It does have like a pirate village, kind of a Tortuga feel, doesn't it? A little bit. Like, pirates were notorious for using swamps to their advantage. They would, bring their boats into, like, all the, like, deep into the swamp thickets where, they couldn't be seen, and they weren't affected by, like, hurricanes and weather as much either. So not only would it protect their boat, but they were well hidden from, prying eyes of, various navies. And they could usually, like, I heard rumors that in some, like, swampy areas and bogs and stuff, they carved out entire channels so they could take their ships through it, and they had, like, secret pathways to get through that they knew how to get in and out of, so they could essentially avoid patrols. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm adding a lot of headcanon to this, but you left it open-ended with the description, so it leaves me some opportunity to fill the blanks, and I like it. A swamp market, though, is something you don't see a lot of on the workshop, so I definitely appreciate you adding this and taking this approach. I think my favorite part overall is this little bog bar. You just pull up, rolls up, and gets you a beer. Right, DA does do water really good. I'm even on low right now. I'm not even on like a good quality. Let's go up to high. Get those shadows. You can see the reflection from the light. I mean, there could be a magical solution. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you grew up on Disney films in here, right? Did any of you watch The Rescuers? Frozen could be good for sure. You did a great job on that because you did leave it open-ended enough that we can carve out our own narrative, but it does leave enough distinctiveness that there's obviously it has its own story. Yeah, let's do Frozen. I like that. Here, I'll update. So that is now updated. Do you want to build a snowman? Doesn't have to be a snowman. Oh, mama. What's the baby? Come on. Dad. Come here. My cat's outside screaming at me. We had some follows in the last hour. I just want to say thank you. To Aunt Nika, Sabka, and Concilio del Sur. Thank you so much. Well, you can't hang out with me? You can't hang out with me? A little bit. He was just yelling at my door. One thing I will add that is really awesome, Sabka, for swamp maps, just a pro tip. Under the lighting panel here, if you click this little hamburger menu, the advanced menu, you have some green lighting. Follower goal, what do you mean, Atlam? But when you add some green to a swamp, I don't know what it is, but it just really feels right. Oh, yeah, we did hit 2,700. Nice. Thank you so much. Oh, Revan just put us just over the limit there. To remove shadows when the sun is up? What do you mean, Revan? Like inside of buildings? Or like outside? Because normally when the sun's up, shadows are a very normal thing. If you want to get rid of shadows, you could put it to like high noon. That means the sun is directly above, so the shadows aren't as long. And honestly, I wasn't trying to like outdo your work or anything. I was just letting you know, I think a swamp with a little bit of green, it goes so hard. It looks good. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you, like, I have heard about this a few times from DMs. A lot of people are like, why do you guys have shadows cast from outside? And it's immersion breaking. Absolutely unusable. And I'll be honest with you, in my almost 3 years as the community manager, this seems to be almost exclusively a DM complaint. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I do think as DMs, we are a little bit more observant. We're cursed to be hyper observant and notice little details of things, minutia. And that's part of the reason I think we became DMs in the first place. We like the attention to detail. And, you know, so those little things, those shadows that we feel are immersion breaking, that our players will be like, I can't even play this. It's so unreal. More often than not, the players don't notice it and don't really care. Now, I'm not saying that to brush it off, to say it's not something that needs to be addressed. I'm just saying that so maybe you could put it further into the back of your mind and not stress about it as much. Because at the end of the day, your players are there to kick goblin butt and, like, look for loot. They're usually not going to critique every inch of your map and be like, oh my gosh, what is this shadow doing here? This is so unrealistic in this world of magic where we can fly and fling fire from our fingers. So I will say this. The next update, Fun with Objects, will add roofing, so ceilings, and that will separate indoor and outdoor ambient lighting for good. So you will no longer have that issue. The only lighting will get in through like windows or light sources that happen to be in the room. So, and I will say this, DMs, if you are stressing about minor details in your maps that you're worried, oh, my players will think this looks fuzzy, or oh, this will be immersion breaking. At the end of the day, I want you to know that you don't need to hold yourself back striving for perfection with your maps. I think your players will be very happy with what you put together for them, and be, you know, more than willing to go through it without complaining or having any issues at all. I think as DMs, we tend to kind of put ourselves like on this, like, I guess on a pedestal, and we're like, oh, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be great, because you're providing this like entertainment and production level like game to your friends, family, whatever, and you want it to be amazing and fun, and you know. Anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is these little things like shadows and stuff, at the end of the day, your players more often will not notice it. They're just there to, you know, do magic stuff. One thing though, when you do put your source up to high noon, this is a problem. It becomes super reflective. Metal and liquid surfaces become entirely blinding when it's like this. So I would recommend, if you do want to get rid of shadows, but you know, you want to avoid that little glare, do it just almost to complete high noon, so there's still some shadow, but they're not extra long. You know what I mean? Yes, Revan. Why would we have roofing that you couldn't hide? That's silly. We want to let you look into the buildings if you want to. You'll be able to export with roofing or without roofing. But anyway, I I hope me, going into that little soapbox there wasn't seen as like rude or crass or anything. I do just love how DMs are. Like we all are a lot alike, and it's funny because I interact with a lot of DMs, and we have very similar things about us, like similar styles and similar ideas of like how a game should be and what things should look like, and the immersion level. And trust me, I'm with you there. I do want those things to be better and to have less, distraction. I think we're getting there slowly, but for now, at the end of the day, it's really, I don't know. It's just probably something that is like not nearly as big of a deal, I guess. It's a good question, Revan. I don't know. I'm not sure if you remove the roof, if the shadows are gone. Part of the update they said on the roadmap that they'd be working on separate indoor and outdoor ambient lighting. So I'm really hoping that at the end of the day, that's not just visible when the roof is on there, because that would be silly. You want to export with that, not just with the roof. You know what I mean? But I do understand. Like I get it. I'm the same way. I get really OCD sometimes and get really perfectionist about things. I have entire campaigns that I shelved because I wasn't happy with what I had put together. And it's like if I just let people play it, they'd probably adore it. They'd probably enjoy it. But I'm in my head too much about it. There are a few crates that have veggies in them already. And then another thing you can do is when you're putting, like objects in mass, if you hold shift when you place it, it automatically duplicates it. Yeah, it does. Island Lass. Also, there are some abstract roof options on the workshop that are essentially invisible. But yeah, if you put like an abstract object like this, right? Turn off collisions. I'm gonna make it as close to the size as I can without, rounding it. But something like this, right? Or you could even, yeah. Anyway, if you just insert a blank PNG, meaning nothing is in it, pretty sure that'll block outside light. I could be wrong on this. Nope, never mind. It does not. Could have sworn it used to. Oh well. But yeah, there is objects on the workshop that are like see-through roof. Transparent roof cover. And these can be placed above a roof and they block out the light, but you can still see through. A little weird though, you gotta get used to it. Like, it's possible, but it gets a little strange. You gotta kind of play around with it. The problem is it like lowers as you are playing with it. There. That's like just about as perfect as it can get. So you gotta get it at the right size and the right height. something like that. So it blocks out the light, but now it's super dark inside. Weird, it's almost like sunlight doesn't come in from those windows. Anyway. Lovely map. Thank you for sharing this one. Absolutely adore it. Hi, Kitty. I've got a spare chair in my office. My cat will come in and just chill on it. Another very unique and interesting style map. This one really caught my attention because it's so festive. Fortunately, Revan, I don't know on that. I can't speak to that. But find. Oh, there's my pencil. It is really nice. It's a beautiful map. I love the little foot pave walkway here, like the hand, you know, with the little Fey stepping stones. And then the lighting out back with like the snow golem and the little, you know, portal out back with the Fey coming through it. Like you definitely, or the, you know, the fawn. It is interesting. Yeah, it would be good for Frozen. I mean, technically they could enter it twice because they didn't win the last one, so their map wouldn't be like, you know, could technically be entered again. That being said, though, I mean, they do have an eye for a Frozen theme. I think they could knock out a new one quite easy. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I didn't notice the flowers in the tree over here. Oh, I guess that's just part of that tree. Okay, didn't ever notice that. Man, I am blind sometimes. The bagels. Bagels. Thank you so much, TikTok, for continuing those likes. Much appreciated. Look at this cat over here, up to no good. Not you, Bebe. This one. This one's a bad kitty. You're a good kitty. He stole the croissant! I like that there's some things on the floor. That's actually too real. The Yule logs, though. Look at that. This one's great. I really love the aesthetic. The really, you know, leaning into the frozen, cold tundra, you know, feel. Oh. updated that goal. The owl on the crate. Oh my gosh. I love it. Little details like that are great. I noticed back here the cat's on like a little step ladder too, putting in stuff into the oven. Listen, the rule at this shop though is you don't, when they ask what the name is for your order, you don't tell them. Because this is clearly in the Feywild. What's the name on the order? Why don't you tell me? I lived in New York. Yeah, Ignacio, you know what I'm talking about with those bagels. Community is just one of those shows that there's always someone in the audience that knows it. Katie babes, what you doing? Right, it does look like everything in here is freezing. It's like we're in a freezer, not actually like a warm shop. Outside is cold, inside is warm and toasty. That's what I like to think. Wonderful, wonderful build. Kitty. Every time I say it, I have to look over at my real cat sitting next to me or he'll get jealous. Ready? That. Parkour! Nope, I got stuck. I didn't jump at all. This is the worst parkour ever. That was pretty cool. So you come through the portal, and then you're just in a Fey Wonderland here. Parkour! 360, gainer, off the fridge box, onto the van. This treasure chest, highly underutilized. I don't see it in many maps, and it is one of my favorite. So I came up with an idea for a one-shot theme. I was like, couldn't sleep last night, and I was bored, and it's a holiday-themed one-shot idea called How the Lich Stole Christmas. And, you know, I mean, you could pretty much connect the dots from there. I just know if my players saw a chest like this that's like clearly an ice chest or something like weird looking, like it's made out of a material or a stone, they'd be like, that's chest is cursed. No, you're right, Revan. So earlier I kind of started a thought and didn't finish it. I remember what I was saying, and I'm sorry. I was talking about that Disney show, The Rescuers. So in The Rescuers, this was like 20 minutes ago, so sorry I'm circling back now. We were looking at the swamp map, right? And in The Rescuers, it's these two mice that are part of like essentially a United Nations for rodents, and they go around and help like kids in danger or who need assistance and help rescue them, right? And they go to rescue this little girl who is trapped or being held hostage by this evil woman who is essentially Cruella de Vil, but in the bayou. And she is forcing her to go down in this dank, dark little cave hole to look for gems, or a very specific gem that's allegedly hidden down in there. And she's the only one that can fit. Adults can't go down there, so she forces her to go down, and it fills up with water and becomes incredibly dangerous. You can only be down there a little bit at a time because the tide comes in. And so what I was getting at earlier is, bayous tend to be in floodplains where they'll rise and lower throughout the day. So you could very easily have places where like boats would 1 minute or part of the day be, hard to move or stuck, or it's trapped there seemingly, but through other parts of the day it would easily just go right through that area. So Shlomo, I'm actually wrapped up on showing maps, so I'll just give you a quick walkthrough. The one thing to remember with mines and maps is or like mines and caves and stuff like that, we actually have a biome specifically for caves that saves you a tremendous amount of time. Now, when you start building a cave map, all you really need to know is, do you want to carve out the mine or cavern custom to a specific design in your mind? Or do you want to let the automation generate the caves for you and just kind of build to suit within that space? If you have it generate, okay, if you want to have a specific design in mind, then just set the size of your map. I'm just going to assume it's 40 by 40 for brevity. Set your elevation to solid rock. This allows you to carve into the rock to get your specific cut or design. Next, when you do vegetation for caves, I usually leave it as empty or cave unless you really want crystals or mushrooms in it. The other two will have, very much matching like a cave aesthetic. Empty is more attuned to what a mine would be because they probably pulled out all the excess or moved it. You know what I mean? That's what the like rails and buckets and all that stuff is for usually in mines, right? Do you want torches set up? You can have all sorts of torches running through it, which adds to the aesthetic of a mine, or you could leave it empty when it generates. Or when you're carving out is what I mean. So as you carve out space, it'll add torches automatically, or you could just say no lights. I'll show you what I mean though. And then lastly, do you want a river or a body of water to go through this cave? You could just say no water and add it manually, or you can do river and it'll add it in the generation. As you peel away, there'll be a river there. So anyway, we're going to generate this just kind of standard. With solid rock, it is raised, right? This is just a slab of rock ready to carve into. Then you have all these different cave carving tools. We're going to use the carve cave tool, okay? Next, you just need to set the size of the brush. So the smaller the brush, the more precise and small the cave will be. The larger the brush, it carves more rapidly, but it'll be like a kind of a big chunk. So let's say this is the opening to the mine from the outside. So you would have an exterior map that's like mountains with like a mine entrance, right? And then you go into the cave, and then you start carving. Now, as you're carving, you could have like a floor plan or something like this that you're using as like an overlay. If you already have an image you can use as an overlay, you can put it in there and start, trying to trace and match it. Alternatively, since you have a design in mind, you may already know what you're planning to do, but use the carve cave tool, because you can, in moments, carve out, whatever you want very intricately. Now, this area up here that is dark, that is important. When you export for a virtual tabletop, that will actually create wall lines, so it blocks line of sight. If you use the other terrain tools, for instance, like the smooth terrain tool, which a lot of people like to do to make this less jagged, the problem happens where it starts peeling back that wall. Notice how it's lighter on top there than the rest of it. It's dark here, but it's light there. To a line of sight on a token, they'll be able to see clean through this, and you don't want that. You don't want your players seeing through these things, right? You want this to act as a cave ceiling where there is no way to see through it. So essentially, make sure that wherever you're carving, use the carving tools, because at the end of the day, it will make it much more clean for line of sight. So, Shlomo, at the end of the day, you have, the ability to carve out whatever you want mine-wise, and if you want a little bit of extra depth, you have the lower terrain tool and the raised terrain tool, so you could go even deeper into your mines or have areas that are lower or higher. But just to remember, at the end of the day, the cave carving tools are very, very important, and they help set up the line exports for virtual tabletops. Do you have any questions about this specifically, what you're seeing here, Shlomo? Yeah, Mapmaker Monday is great. So today's stream, the Dam Challenge, we typically focus on community maps and have very little time to discuss, support or questions. You happened to come right at the end of the stream and ask, which is good because we had covered all the maps, so we have time to cover it. But on Monday, I could go in much more in depth with you and cover it a lot more, because I'm actually sitting there offering guidance on Monday or Wednesday typically. Also, the alternate Saturday stream is great. This is just the one stream. It's a little bit harder to provide support. But if you look at this here, you can turn something like this, Shlomo, into, something like this, which this map is arguably the most popular mine on the workshop. And I'm not saying that to brag. It was one of the first maps on the workshop, so that gave it a big head start. But it is a very good example of how to build a mine. There's a lot of intricacies, natural cave formations, carved out areas, scaffolding, rails, a little bit of everything in this map. And if you're looking for a great example, I would recommend downloading it. I built this one, and it's got a little bit of everything. So you've got rails all throughout where they can, ferry in supplies and ferry out dirt. You're in Dungeon Alchemist right now, right, Shlomo? So just click Steam Workshop and then go to Browse Maps. And then just type Dwarven Prospector. And then search. Should find it. I have a couple of mine maps. One's the older one and one's the remastered one. Definitely download the remaster. So that's the older one, which you can't build in this style anymore because the tools and stuff are missing and some of the terrain tools don't function like that anymore. Here's the new one. The new one is the one where I don't know why I just reloaded. Ow, I just hit my knuckle on my desk. Ouch. But it has a little bit of everything. and I encourage you to take a look. But the rails are something that are stock in DA. You have them available in your assets. You know, all of these things are things in DA. In fact, the only thing that's not stock in it is like some lights that I added to make it kind of extra green over here. Oh, and a broken rail piece that someone made for me custom, because I wanted this to look broken and like it collapsed. So they helped me out with that. But essentially, there's a lot of verticality in this map. I use the terrain tools to help me get verticality up and down. The rails can go up and down, so that's perfect. I did little areas with pits, so I dig like a hole, and you have several ways you can make this feel deep. I actually put a smoke effect in there to make it feel deep. But another way to do this is you can grab an abstract object, like this large customizable pane, and you can drag it across this area and sink it into the ground, right? And once it's deep enough, insert a completely full black image. And then that's actually much easier on your processor than effects would be, and it gives that deep pit feel. I did that over here too. I call this area Goblin Town because it reminds me a lot of Goblin Town from like the Lord of the Rings, you know, the Hobbit book. Particularly Lord of the Rings Online, the video game, had Goblin Town in it as a major raid, and it just reminds me of that a lot. And a little bit of the Hobbit movie. They definitely did a good representation of Goblin Town. For now, you would have to use abstract objects to do that. So that same object we just put there, something like this, you would insert an image of like a scratch. So in this case, I'm just going to put something like footprints here as an example. These are massive cat footprints, but you could find like a scratch, or like a scratch that looks like a circular piece, like a door that opens always, you know, or something like that. So essentially, you just have to draw something or find an image online that could work for you, and it has to be a PNG. If it's a PNG, you can insert it pretty much anywhere. So in this case, I mean, it could be, you know, a blood trail, or you know, something like that, to give them like a clue. And it's like, why is this going into this wall? Anything. It could be scratch marks, footprints, whatever you want. But that's how you would do that, is with this object right here under the object panel, abstracts. These allow you to insert images into them of all kinds. So these are a blank slate that you can use however you want. Shlomo, do you have any other questions? Where did I get the panel? What do you mean? The green thing? Objects? Abstracts. Large customizable pane. All of these greens, they can be customized, but these flat ones that go on the ground, these are the ones that I use to do, like, you know, magic circles on the ground, blood splatter. You could do footprints. You could do whatever you want, really. It's a customizable. We added these so people could add whatever they wanted and kind of break out of the boundaries we have with our rating. You know, being E for everyone. So these allow you to kind of supersede that and make your own. The other thing is the workshop. I mean, you can import 3D models that do a similar thing. So here is like, you know, a magic circle. There's blood trails or scratches, I'm sure, footprints, likely. Let's see. Yep. So here's some bloody footprints or some muddy footprints. You could add these instead of something else, you know. But yeah, I mean, objects can do it or abstracts can do it. So we have two ways you could do something like that with, you know, with the tools given. How did I change the height? So objects, in order to change their height, you disable object collisions. This toggle right here. When you do that, it unlocks several behaviors. The first is it allows you to put objects closer to each other. Normally, it would argue and say you can't do that. You get the red, no, can't place that there, right? But when collisions are disabled, not only can you put objects closer together, but notice when I turn it off and on, this arrow appears over here. You can then raise objects up and down, and you can scale them far below or beyond their normal size constraints. This essentially unlocks all of those abilities. I wish this was an advanced menu that said collisions and Z height and size, so it was 3 different settings so people knew about all of them instead of it being buried in one menu. But yeah, when you disable collisions, you essentially unlock DA. That's a pro tip. You can do a lot with that. So that allows you to raise objects up and down to get verticality. That allows you to make them much smaller or much larger and merge them together like this to make new and unique objects. Because normally, DA would be like, you can't have this like this. But now, scaffolding that overlaps itself and is really haphazard and, that looks more natural. Especially in a mine, they just kind of cobble together and make it work, right? These the tracks, those are in the object menu under, I believe, utility and engineering. No, not there. Where are they? Oh, under structural. My bad. Under structural, there's rails. So you have all these, and they snap together rather easily. Hey, Rev, how you doing, buddy? Welcome back. For sure. The wiki has tons of info both about the asset importer and abstract objects. With both of those entries on the wiki, you can learn a lot about importing custom assets or how to use the abstract objects correctly to your advantage. But between the two of them, you can definitely, do a lot of custom stuff. And the fact that there is now over 7,000 assets on the workshop that have been shared by our community that really expand upon that. Many of these are in the fantasy aesthetic, but some even branch into sci-fi, cyberpunk, other things like that. So you can really start making maps in other themes. There was an amazing Fallout map that was shared just yesterday on the workshop. There is some futuristic maps, some space maps, all sorts of stuff. Now, that aside, the expansion of all these extra tokens and assets allows you to build things that, you wouldn't normally be able to do right now in Dungeon Alchemist. Definitely check out the assets on the workshop because it can expand, what you can build into a kind of a whole other realm. Oh, you should know, Shlomo, the rails. The rails actually, as you go up, they put legs underneath them automatically. You don't need to put a platform under them. So, here. As soon as, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's supports under it. They go way deep. Yep, they put the legs underneath, so if it's over a pit or a hole, it'll look like it's supported all the way down. You can also just put a little extra support under it if you're worried in some spots, if it doesn't have it, like I did there. I just put a wooden thing under it, and it made it look normal. It is Planet Coaster, huh? The next update actually has a new tool that'll speed up using the rails and other objects, similar objects. Where is it? This here. It's the module or object tool, so it allows you to quickly link objects together and build out linkages. But there's other aspects of this, like the object linking that I've been seeing lately for linking different aspects of objects together, like the crane. You can tell it which object you want it linked to, or you can have cranes linking together on one thing. It's really interesting. So anywhere there's ropes or chains, there's going to be a lot easier to link those things together too. updates are automatic as long as you have your computer connected to the internet and your Steam gets updates regularly or is automatic. So if you have Steam to automatically get your updates, then yes. So as soon as the new update comes out, Steam will prompt you or will automatically update it, one or the other, letting you know it's there. And yeah, so either if you have it set to auto update, it'll auto update, and otherwise it'll let you know there's an update and you can update it. And it's, usually not that big, usually only a couple gigabytes or less. Or the new update is like a new build that's like, 7 to 10 gigs or less total. These are the same rails, exact same rails, but this is a new tool to make them smoother and easier to use. Yeah, this will work for pipes too. And I made sure they added a few other pipe fittings that weren't there because it was really hard to go up with pipes. What do you mean, Lord Rev? All right, everyone, we need to start wrapping it up. I will say this, though. I'm not sure what you mean by windows not being on angled walls, because you can definitely have windows on angled walls. Right here. Let's throw a window on there. See? You can put it on any one of these surfaces. Yeah, or the window's too wide for the wall. I mean, even a one window width, it can fit as long as it's a thin enough window. So if it's a double wide window, it won't fit on on a single, but otherwise it should be. Screen is a bit dark. Is that a problem with the setting in DA, or is my computer? I mean, if it looks a little dark on your end, it's likely something on your end that you can probably turn up. I don't think we have a brightness setting of any kind in DA. Definitely try turning up your monitor brightness or contrast, and then maybe add some light into the cave if it's still kind of dark. The other thing, too, is remember the lighting settings in your map. If they're turned down, it might be a little hard to see. You can always... I guess this is a lighting setting you can adjust, but there's no, menu contrast. There's just the overall map lighting. So you have the overhead light of the map where you can kind of brighten it up, right? But if you're in a cave, remember, that won't get inside the cave. Outside light doesn't work in a cave like that. The other thing is objects. Under the object menu, you have lighting, like this. So torches, things like that, you can just press shift while you place it and kind of put them throughout your mine. Different lighting sources, lamps, lanterns, sconces, wall-mounted torches. You have different options. The wall-mounted torches are great in mines, especially if you can get them on the wall. You just disable collisions, and then you could put it by the wall and raise it up and shove it into the wall till it's perfectly fit. So as you add light sources, that increases the amount of light in your cave. Another thing you can do is, if you want, you can add external light to your cave. Like maybe your cave has an opening in it, like where there's like a hole in the ceiling or something. In the cave tools, it says erase cave ceiling. Right? If you're over anywhere in the cave, if you do erase cave ceiling like this, it'll let light in through it. Watch what happens when I do this. You can see the light kind of appear and disappear. It puts a shade over it. So you can actually use this to put a cave ceiling. Technically, I'm blocking out all the light on this map right now. But anyway, What I was getting at is you could get rid of the cave ceiling in your cave and it lets the natural light in, so it could make it brighter at the end of the day. So your light might have been turned way down, and that's probably why it was so dark. Definitely turn it up a little bit. Alrighty, everyone. Hey, Roy. So, yeah, you have some default skyboxes. There's 4 skyboxes in DA by default. You have just the different times a day. So, morning, you know, sundown, sun up, and then night. Each one of them looks slightly different. Night is my favorite because it happens to be the most detailed. And then if you want more than that, you can look on the workshop, and there's probably 2 or 3 dozen skyboxes available. And they're like a dome that you can oversize and put around your map. You just disable collisions and then press or place the skybox on the map like this. And then expand it out beyond the borders of the edge of the map. And then when you're inside the map, it looks like this in first person. So when you're walking around, it's a little bit more immersive. Me personally, one thing I like to do to prevent my players from getting near the edge of the map or seeing it is making sure there's no way to get to it. Like block it off or extend the map past with having some trees and rocks that they can't get to. So essentially like blocks that and more as like a nature boundary that prevents them from going to the edge and just looking over it. Does that make sense? How am I rotating the image so quickly? What do you mean, like the map? Using hotkeys. So, depending on which mode you're in, the camera mode, like if you're just in top down, you can't rotate. You can unlock it and rotate a little bit more if you click in your mouse wheel. Or if you grab with your right click, you can get around the map really quickly. But if you click in your left mouse wheel, this is how you, or you click in your center mouse wheel, sorry. And then you should be able to rotate. That's at least how my setup is. I think in settings, there is an option for this. There's rotate objects. Yep. Alrighty. Time to wrap up the stream, everyone. Cool. Yeah, if you click your mouse wheel, it should allow you to rotate. It just kind of locks, you know, you in place and allows you to rotate the camera. Sorry, these are things are like... you know, I do them so second nature, I don't even think about it now, so I appreciate it when people ask. One thing too, Shlomo, the tutorial, you know, right here, under, like when you load a DA, there was some tutorials, and I think a lot of people tend to skip through it. But if you look at the camera controls here, it gives you some, like, added breakthrough, like, information, that you can look over, and... also, our wiki is a great place to reference when the streams are offline. There's hotkeys and all sorts of information there. And then lastly, you can always drop into our Discord and spin up a question or a support thread and get help any time of the day from myself, other staff members, mods, or community members. So, you know, if you're needing help after the stream, and that goes for yourself too, Roy, and anyone here, if you need some help, feel free to drop in. And, like, let us know. Yeah, you got the first person information here. What did Roy need help with? What did I miss? Just wants it to be darker. Let's see what I can come up with. I mean, realistically, playing with the map and making it dark, turning down the brightness, right? Helps a lot. Something like that. Now, when you export the map, are you trying to make it feel like colorless? Or are you trying to just make it dark? Yeah, so the skybox essentially, The stock ones, you just have the 4 basic ones, and then if you get on the workshop and type Skybox, there are a few available. Some of them are 1 word, some of them are 2. Oops, Skybox. This one here, a dark Skybox could probably work for you. Oh, gotcha. There is one with lightning, actually. This one. Uh-oh. Looks pretty good though, huh? You can also add some rain. Do I have the rain downloaded? Looks weird on the outside, but on the inside it's great. So the only way to change it currently is either by finding an object in the workshop that fixes the issue, right? So we have the Steam Workshop tab here. There's over 10,000 shared maps and over 7,000 shared assets. The assets dig into a lot of different themes and concepts, and a lot of the creators tend to fill in the little gaps that Dungeon Alchemist doesn't have yet. So things like skyboxes. It was your monitor? Oh no. Well, I'm glad you got it sorted there, Shlomo. Shlomo, I gotta ask you before we wrap up today, the BF in your name, is that for Battlefield? Looks really good with the thunder, doesn't it? Oh, gotcha. Fair. So, like, in the Battlefield community, they shorten it by calling it BF, you know? So, I just assume maybe you played Battlefield and that was your tag there, so. I don't know if there's a snow one. You'd have to ask or look, probably. Offhand, I don't think so. Well, let's look though. Oops, click maps. Snow. Yeah, there is some falling snow. So yeah. Cool. Oh, it even melts on the ground for a little bit? That's cool. Why have I not seen this one? It also could work as ash, too, like a volcano. So, Roy, I hope this helps you at least a little bit, but keep in mind, Roy, when you put a skybox over your map, some of them will drown out and make your map impossible to see when you're in export. So it'll kind of block it. So make sure you file save as your map, so you do a diverted split off save, and one you do the skybox on, and the other one you leave it without it. So you have a version with and one without. Does that make sense? So that way, if you want to, record in first person on your map and play around with the skybox, can't even touch it now. So if you want to walk around in first person or a cinematic camera, you can. And then you can still export it as a top-down map and make it usable. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Had a lot of fun hanging out. I definitely need to wrap up now. Appreciate you all so very, very much. Had a lot of fun hanging out with the Dam Challenge. Again, the new theme is Frozen. So if you want to participate in the next Dam Challenge, you have between now and the end of day on the 27th. That means, 11:59:59 in your time zone on the 27th. Between now and then, you have that much time to make and upload a map to the Dam Challenge channel on Discord. By the way, when you upload that map, make sure you look at the rules pinned at the top of the channel and that you're following those rules to the T. Otherwise, your map will not be qualified. If your map is picked as chosen as the winner, you get a $10 Hero Forge gift card. Your map is the first map shared on the Dam Challenge stream. So today, the winner's map was showed for 30 minutes, giving them a lot of face time and a lot of eyes on their build. Additionally, your map is featured in our weekly newsletter. So it allows you to kind of challenge yourself, try something new, build a new theme, but also flex your map maker muscle against the community and get your name out there. Let people know about your work and, see what you can do. Anyway, if you're interested in participating, start thinking about how you want to build your map. You got about 2 weeks. Other than that, we'll be back on Monday with Map Maker Monday. Every Monday, I build a map live for you to watch and learn and share ideas and feedback. You also can get live support during the stream. The stream is hosted AMA format, which means ask me anything. So you can pop in during the stream, ask questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, and I will stop what I'm doing and provide you real-time live support so you can watch and follow along and learn. We're building a massive ancient cemetery, which it's actually coming along quite well. I'd say we're getting close to the halfway point, maybe even a little bit further on the build. Yeah, Puppy does need some rest, and so do I. But here, I'll show you that map, and we will wrap up for the day. It is a big 82 by 82 cemetery complex with a cathedral, bell tower, a big garden around the cathedral, and then there's several different areas for plots that I've kind of mapped out. The plots we're working on right now are like the priests and martyrs and people who serve the church, the clergy. Their graves are ones we're working on right now. And then after that, we're going to be doing pauper graves and then some mausoleums on terraced ground. And then lastly will be the groundskeeper's cottage and tool shed. Yeah. Mosey, for right now, they're on a break, but I did find out we're going to be on sale during the winter sale. So yeah, we'll be having some bonus streams during the winter sale. I've been trying to figure out how I can plug an extra stream into my schedule. And I'm trying to figure out what the best day would be. So right now it's leaning towards Friday night. Meaning I would do a kind of a late night evening stream that would accommodate ideally the morning crowd across the pond and the late night people, the night owls here in the US. So I'd get kind of the best of both worlds there and a whole new audience of people who normally can't catch our streams at the other times. So I do like the idea of doing that. I'm just kind of trying to figure out how to squeeze it into my schedule. And also, it would be awesome, right? It would be nice. So this is what I worked on last Monday, this little section here, and it's coming along. We'll be working on it some more Monday, adding more, graves and walkways and stuff like that. So if you're interested in tuning in and learning some map making from somebody who has over, 2,900 hours with Dungeon Alchemist, tune in on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and 5 p.m. UTC. The stream will be roughly 2 hours, so if you can't tune in right away, no worries. Make sure you get there at least at some point during the stream. to ask your questions or get support or just hang out and get to know your other the other cartographers in our community. Thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making utility and immersion tool available on Steam. If you're interested in trying Dungeon Alchemist, remember, we have a free demo. It's a modest demo, 7 gigs or less, I believe. Last I checked, it's 6.7 gigs. It allows you to try out the forest biome and make your very own tavern. You can even print it or export it for your virtual tabletop of choice. So if you're interested in giving Dungeon Alchemist a little test drive, try the demo out. That way you can see how well it runs on your system before you invest in it. And remember, Dungeon Alchemist should be on sale through the winter sale, which I believe starts on, I think, the 18th. I'm not 100% on that. I got to get the dates locked down. So there will be a sale soon. If anything, put Dungeon Alchemist on your wish list if you're wanting to take advantage of that. That way you get a notification when the sale goes live. Thank you everyone for being here. We'll see you Monday. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We'll see you next time. I give a damn. Mac out. Bye. Bye.